Good day and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Though the Atlantic hurricane season has begun, some parts of the island are still being affected by drought conditions and water lockoffs. We encourage you to continue your water conservation practices, even as the government implements sustainable ways of ensuring there's enough potable water for all. We have a lot lined up for you, so we get things up and running with a gentle reminder followed by the news. Stay with us.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Monday, June 10. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has instructed the Forestry Department to create an environmental corps that will employ 1,000 youngsters across the island. The environmental corps will fall under the Housing Opportunities Production and Employment HOPE program.
There are many deforested areas for which, and I know that there are programs there, that we should really be setting up brigades of youngsters for tree planting and for capturing data as well, which is becoming very important on our climate.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave the directive on Thursday as he addressed a strategic leadership retreat by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Government has partnered with mining company Geophysx Jamaica Limited to update the island's geological maps. This is to allow new and potential mining investors to better search for minerals. Minister of Transport and Mining, Robert Montague, says the owner of Geophysx, Robert Stewart, has also provided a digitally generated map of Jamaica showing where water is being held underground.
The same methods used to seek minerals have been able to locate water. He accepted the challenge, and the maps are ready at no cost to the people of Jamaica.
The minister was making his sectoral debate presentation recently. By the end of next year, St. James will have a new fire station. Ground was broken on Thursday for the construction of the $534.9 million facility at Barnett Street in Montego Bay. The new fire station will have the capacity to house 140 firefighters. It will replace the old Barnett Street station that was demolished in 2006. Since then, the firefighters have been operating from the Montego Freeport compound. Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister, Mike Henry, has urged the contractors to ensure that the project is completed on time and within budget.
This project will provide the city of Montego Bay with a newly built state-of-the-art, structurally sound fire station to serve the residents and obviously also the visitor industry who come through here.
Work will commence shortly on 2 additional fire stations. One is to be built in Port Maria, St. Mary, and the other in Yallas, St. Thomas. The projects are being undertaken by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund under its Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Program. Government will be increasing the size of the Immigration and Customs Hall at the Sangster International Airport this financial year. There are also plans to create a new shopping area and food court which will be accessible to residents of surrounding communities.
The Sangster International Airport is growing from strength to strength. It is now the fastest growing airport in the region. We have seen a 6% growth over 2017 and are projecting a 3% growth in 2019. This year we'll see more improvements.
Transport Minister Robert Montague says there are also plans to place ticketing kiosks in select hotels across the island to allow guests to check into their flights before they get to the airports.
The installing of over 50 immigration kiosks by the Passport Immigration Citizenship Agency has gone a far way in reducing immigration waiting times. An expanded security checkpoint area extended runways, and installing a runway end safety area at both ends of the runway will increase safety.
In the meantime, he says divestment of the Norman Manley International Airport is on track for the operators to assume control this October. In other transport news, government is in the process of acquiring new buses for the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC.
Mr. Speaker, I am happy to inform you and my colleagues that in our stores at the JUTC is approximately $1.7 billion worth of spare parts. We are now moving to repair more and more buses, but we must purchase new buses. A project is now being prepared to be presented to PIMSEC for consideration. We are preparing to purchase new buses. However, we must deal with the approved funds to refurbish 15 of the 18 articulated buses and have received the NCC's non-objection letter, and Cabinet has recently given its go-ahead.
And finally, Denham Town residents will get to pay respect to their former Member of Parliament tomorrow when his body will lie in state in the community. Former Prime Minister Edward Seaga's flagged draped casket will be at the Denham Town Community Centre from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Earlier today, Tivoli Gardens residents were given their chance to honor the man who represented the West Kingston constituency for over 40 years in Parliament. Mr. Seaga died on his 89th birthday on May 28. His state funeral will be held on Sunday, June 23 at the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity in Kingston. Government has released protocols for the funeral and the June 19 to 22 period of mourning. These include flying the national flag at half-mast, restricting public social functions or other official events, and persons wearing sedate colors and modest attire. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
It keeps our bodies working, our food nutritious, our living and working spaces clean, and our lives comfortable. Water, the most precious resource necessary for the sustenance of life on our planet. Don't waste it. Let's conserve on this critical commodity. In the house, invest in storage containers and buckets. Take quick showers instead of long baths, and invest in water-efficient shower heads, toilets, and faucets. You may also want to consider one-pot meals and cooking methods that don't require much water. You could also wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl and reuse the water on your plants or grass. When cleaning dishes, fill both sinks and use one for washing and the other for rinsing. The leftover water can be used to wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. If you must wash your car at home, aim for once a fortnight and use a bucket to do the washing instead of running the hose. Don't delay. Start your water conservation practices today.
The government of Jamaica has recently signed an MOU to continue roadworks across the country under what's being dubbed the Greater Infrastructure Development Program, or the GIDP. But what exactly is that? Find out next.
What we are doing is creating a project which will be looking at road development, yes, but water and wastewater along with the road development, drainage, bridges, transportation, and ICT. And I want to spend a little time on transportation because included in the Greater Infrastructure Development Program will be consideration for light rail to connect Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, and other urban areas that have substantial commuter traffic. So all of that is being planned out now for the next phase of infrastructure development in Jamaica. We're going to be looking in this Greater Infrastructure Development Program at the proposal for a ring road around the Kingston metropolitan area. We're going to look at the extension of the Mandela Highway improvement works from the east-west toll road to the Old Harbour roundabout. We're going to be looking at improving Halfway Tree. We're going to be doing the construction of several bypasses. And bypasses are important because it's not just the road, it is also a program of making our small urban towns more functional. When you drive through them, there's so many things going on. The town is growing, but its very growth is killing the town. So you have to, in addition to doing the bypass of the town, you have to do work inside the town. So it's a dual program. It's bypass and it's rural township development. We're looking at the Lucy bypass in Hanover. We're looking at the Hopewell bypass. We're looking at the Montego Bay bypass in St. Mary. We have already spoken about Long Hill and the Anchovy bypass in St. James. We're looking at the Port Maria bypass. We haven't put it here, but we are also looking at the spur tree. Then, Mr. Speaker, we're looking at drainage. So we are going to do it in a climate smart way. We're going to do it according to our master plan for drainage, which was completed a few years ago. And that now has instructed us that we have to do drainage works on Marcus Garvey Drive, Maxfield Avenue in the corporate area, just to name two, Maypen, Santa Cruz, Port Maria, and Montego Bay. So that's how we're putting together the plan. This will be the year of unveiling, or rather, the year we roll out the carpet.
While we build, we are also ensuring that what we build is sustainable and resilient to natural disasters. That's where science and technology comes in. Take a look.
It's all around us. It influences how we work, learn, live, play, and plan for the future. GIS is the short form of Geographic Information System. It's a computer-based system built to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, manage, and display all kinds of spatial or geographical data.
In geography class in high school, persons were taught that in geography, we're able to locate where features are using coordinates. That's the basis of GIS. Knowing where these features are on the Earth's surface and being able to represent that within a computer-based environment where that is seen visually.
So it's a support tool that we use to provide additional extension to any business process.
And with this GIS technology, the government has been mapping Jamaica's course on the information highway. Leading that charge is the Land Information Council of Jamaica, LICJ, a mandate held since 1992.
Jamaica is considered the leading country within the English-speaking Caribbean with regards to GIS. We're able to provide direction, policy development.
In addition to coordinating the implementation of a national land information policy strategy, the LICJ has also been instrumental in developing a national GIS network. And with the foundation set, the Council is now focused on establishing and implementing a National Spatial Data Infrastructure, NSDI. Through that infrastructure, government will be able to capture, manage, maintain, integrate, discover, and distribute spatial data at all levels of society. The LICJ's mandate is executed through its secretariat, the National Spatial Data Management Division, NSDMD.
We provide a lot of technical support to all of these various government agencies that actively use GIS to carry out their mandate. We train these persons. Apart from that, we facilitate conducting GIS needs assessments.
Government is currently the largest user of geospatial and related technologies, and that usage runs throughout government. It's seen in the water sector, transport, disaster management, environment management, national security, education, health, and agriculture. But no other area has seen the proliferation of GIS technology than that of land use and development. At the Urban Development Corporation, GIS is used to streamline operations in various departments, including estate management, business development, architecture, and corporate security.
We are on the road now to our 50th anniversary, and we see GIS as being that enabling tool to provide UDC now with not just the way to make better decisions in development, but also improving UDC's image as a modern entity.
The same is true for the National Land Agency's land titling, land valuation, surveys and mapping, and estate management divisions.
A lot of the business processes that exist within the different divisions have GIS tied into it. So for example, there is no way that somebody can, at present, acquire a new certificate of titling without some work happening on the GIS end.
The National Works Agency also uses GIS in project planning, land acquisition, and location analysis.
Everything that we do has a spatial component to it, and it's hard to deny that GIS is going to play a role in all of that.
Cost savings, greater efficiency, faster decision making, improved communication, and better record keeping are all derived from the use of GIS. And the private sector also has been getting in on the technology. Increasing GIS nationwide is also a focus for the LICJ and the NSDMD. To facilitate this, the government has signed an enterprise license agreement with the Environmental Research Institute. That agreement has been a game changer.
It has allowed us to be more efficient, in terms of accessing the data and using it to provide more information and to engage also with the public as well.
What it does is open up a whole new world. So there are almost no limits to what we can do with GIS and improving the way we handle our spatial data as a government.
Sweet Jamaica, we not left ya. Tough yam and banana, we not left ya.
Finger licking jerk chicken, Helcher fish and bami, we run down yam and banana, roast bread fruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
Sweet Jamaica, we not left ya.
Drones are becoming increasingly popular on the island, and I must say I love the aerial views that they provide, but with use comes responsibility.
Drones, more formally known as unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, or unmanned aircrafts, are used by many persons for various purposes. In recent years, there has been an increase in drone ownership and use in Jamaica, prompting strict regulations by the authorities. Commercial drone users are required to get a special aerial work permit from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA, each time a drone or other unmanned power-driven aircraft that flies without a human operator on board is to be used. This is important in order to address issues of aviation safety and security, as well as national security and privacy. Operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven aircrafts must apply in writing to the JCAA, and the applicant must provide all details of the intended flight. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority mandates that drone users must not fly these devices at a height exceeding 400 feet or 122 meters above ground level. Also, recreational users must not go beyond the maximum range of 1,640 feet or 500 meters, or within 500 feet or 152 meters of an organized open-air assembly of people. Nor should these drones or UAVs be flown over or within 165 feet or 50 meters of any person. The guidelines also demand that persons not operate these aerial devices over a private or public property or dwelling without prior permission. Unmanned aerial devices should also not be operated at nights or during low visibility conditions. Persons are not to use drones or unmanned aerial vehicles to drop or discharge any item to the ground. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority's guidelines stipulate restricted and prohibited airspace where drones and other UAVs are either restricted or must not fly. In the restricted zones, drones are not allowed to take off unless a permit is obtained from the JCAA. Prohibited airspaces are designated where no flights by these devices are allowed. Some of the prohibited areas include Jamaica House, King's House, the Police Commissioner's Office, Jamaica Defence Force Up Park Camp, and the Petrojam Refinery. Restricted zones include flight training areas assigned to flight schools and the JDF Air Wing, Newcastle Training Base, and other JDF facilities across the island. There is a 5-kilometer or 3.1-mile radii no-fly zone for drones around aerodromes, as well as Norman Manley Sangsters and Ian Fleming International Airports. The policy in Jamaica is similar to industry practices in North America and the United Kingdom, where permission from the managers of the aerodromes and restricted or prohibited airspaces are sought prior to the issuance of a permit. So, for drone operation at or near aerodromes, communication is made with air traffic control, which will dictate flight times, which is included in the permit to the drone operator. All drone flights in prohibited and restricted airspaces will require a notice to airmen or NOTAM. The NOTAM is prepared by the JCAA and issued to the aviation industry in advance of the date the drone will operate, that is, 3 to 4 days lead time. The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority demands that UAV users cease operation of these devices once a safety hazard is apparent and should not resume operation until the risk is resolved. All incidents that occur while using these aerial devices must be reported to the authority in order for the cause to be determined and for corrective measures to be implemented. The JCAA inspectors and law enforcement officers have the authority to intervene at any time. So, operators of drones and other unmanned aerial power-driven devices are encouraged to heed the regulations or face the penalty if the matter is brought before the court.
As we continue to honor the life and the work of former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, we take a look at his involvement in culture. In the late 1950s, Mr. Seaga began the journey to unearth and preserve Jamaica's folk music. That mission led to the collection of the island's folk music from all over the island in the 1960s. Those recordings and others on Jamaica's oral history are now compiled at the Jamaica Memory Bank. The former Prime Minister was also integral in the performance of Jamaica's folk music. Through the late Dr. Olive Lewin, the Jamaica Folk Singers was formed to not only teach, but also reach all in society. We don't want to just tell you about his work, we want you to immerse yourself in it.
For thy great glory, sins of the world.
And that's how we close out our program. We return tomorrow around about the same time to bring you more news you can use. While you wait, visit us online at jis.gov.jm, follow us on social media, or download our mobile app. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.